You guys want to turn your microphones on? Yeah, want to turn your microphone on?
We'll call the meeting to order and begin with the pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as printed because there's no additions or deletions.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. Approval of the minutes are found on pages 1 through 4. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes as printed.
So
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. Need a motion to adjourn and reconvene as the new council.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. Now, we'll do the oath of offices. And then we go to, following this, we go to elect a president and a vice president. I'll start with you, Tommy.
Thanks, Ron.
Raise your right hand. I, and repeat after me. I, Tammy Lichty,
I, Tammy Lichty,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota,
and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of Alderwoman
of Alderwoman
for the City of Miller,
City of Miller,
Han County,
Han County,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Sworn to be before me the second day of May 2022, and would you sign that right there, please? Susan, I, Susan Hargens,
I, Susan Hargens,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of South Dakota,
the Constitution of the State of South Dakota,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Alderwoman
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Alderwoman
for the City of Miller,
for the City of Miller,
Han County,
Han County,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Sworn before me the second day of May 2022, would you sign that right there, please? Welcome.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mike,
Yes, sir.
raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Mike Wentz,
I, Mike Wetz,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota,
and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Alderman
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Alderman
for the City of Miller,
for the City of Miller,
Han County,
Han County,
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Sworn before me the second day of May, 2022, and if you would sign right there, please.
Sure will.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
The nominations are now open for the election of a president and a vice president, and we'll start out with the president.
I'd make a motion, we elect Jeff Schwartz as president of the council.
Okay, we have Jeff Schwartz. Is there any other nominations? If not, I'd entertain a motion that nomination cease.
I'll
And we
make that
cast a
motion.
unanimous ballot for Jeff Schwartz.
I'll make the motion, nomination cease.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. Nominations are open for the vice president of the city council.
I'd make a motion, we make Tammy Lichty the vice president.
Who you making?
Tammy.
I'll
Okay,
second.
we have a motion to nominate Tammy Lichty. We have a second.
I'll second.
Do we have, any other nominations? If not, I'd entertain a motion to cease nominations and cast a unanimous ballot for Tammy Lichty.
I so move.
Is there a second? Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. Now, the mayoral appointments are on a handout sheet, I think. I don't know what. Well, I'll have to have a motion to approve those.
That's number 8. Cindy put that at the bottom, so,
Yeah, I'm moving that up
okay,
to your,
okay.
I'd make a motion to approve the committee appointments for 2022.
have we got a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the mayoral appointments for 2022. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. Is there, anybody got anything for public input? If not, I'll make a couple, three comments. I'd like to welcome the new, council people. I think we're gonna have a lot of stuff going on here before too long, so I'm just, I'm gonna make a few changes in the way things run here as we go along, so. So that's all I've got to say. Has anybody else got anything? If not, we'll go to the department heads reports. Has anybody got any questions? We don't have many department heads here. Ron, did you have any, you didn't have any high water this last go around, did you?
Just, one spot over by just north of the stops as there was. I actually was out cleaning storm drains and then it really started raining when I got over there. By then it was starting to swirl and go down. A lot of the debris this time was little sticks from all the wind, I'm sure. Normally it's grass clippings and things like that. It was mainly sticks and little trash. The broom's out sweeping now to help get rid of that. Wasn't terrible. The swimming pool, there was no water sitting, and that one, I expected to have water in there normally, but now that's the new line, and it's made a difference.
Yeah, I drove by there and that was almost dry.
Yep. The last one to go down was north of the hospital there, and that's gonna be replaced hopefully this year.
Hamel, are the new grinders working?
Now that they're going the right way, yes.
You haven't had to pull since you put them in, have you?
Nope.
They were wired the wrong direction?
One of them was wired the wrong way.
Oh.
Yeah, push the ridge right through.
Has anybody else got anything for public input?
I have a question. Last couple of times ago, we talked about they're not gonna be doing the asphalting like they were going to, it's gonna be doing clearly. In front of my place on Third Avenue, or Third Street, excuse me, are we gonna be doing asphalt or chip seal or what? I kinda talked to Tony Olson about that, but he confused me. What are we doing?
I don't know, I haven't seen exactly, but I think that one's getting chip seal,
Chip seal?
because there's asphalt on both sides, or chip seal on both sides. So to speak.
Thank you.
Is there anything else? If not, we'll start with the new business. What time? Let's see, you've got quarter. Paterka's plot. All we have to do is just, all we can do is just approve that, isn't
Yeah, and this is just a replat. The only thing they're taking out is that little area where the substation is, right here. There's a little 300-foot by 300-foot area that they had forgotten to take out of the previous plat, so they're just replatting it to remove that.
Okay, we need a motion to approve the plot.
Make that motion?
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. Paterka said they were coming to this, so I'm gonna wait till I get here. So I'm gonna go to number 3. DANR Phase 4 funding. Now, what's going on with that is, they're looking, SPN is looking at getting some funding with that from,
Rural development?
rural development. Now, the thing is, if we get a grant from, or if we go with rural development, they'll do the engineering to change that for nothing. But if we don't, it's gonna cost $10,000 for engineering to change from one to the other. Now, it looks like that there's more money involved with this rural development to the tune of almost $2 million.
Actually, on this, SPN has increased the cost and requested more money from rural development. And they said they'll actually maybe need to request more than that 6 million as a total project on that. So right now, we're looking at possibly just getting the grants from DANR and seeing what rural development will give us for grants and loans with a new application to RD. They are re-looking at all of the figures because every bid that they've done has come in substantially higher than what the funding packages have been. St. Lawrence was almost double, actually, on Thursday. So what they would like to do is get permission to apply for a rural development grant, possibly redo our funding request amount. The rural development loan would be for 40 years, and we could not get the DANR loan and just get the rural development loan. The rural development loan is also at a lower interest rate if we do it quickly. Will be raising their interest rates, but. So they just want to know if we want to go forward and ask for funding from rural development on this Phase 4 funding project.
What would be the best case scenario?
Well, looking at what Camden has done so far, if we go with rural development, we'll get, sitting right now at about 65% grant, where at DANR we were at 58.9 or 59% grant, so we get a little bit more grant going to RD. I don't have the actual figures of what that loan amount would be from RD, but I think we could rearrange our water sewer rates and be able to cover it without increasing, but I wouldn't know for sure until we get a final from RD. We would have to add another surcharge, obviously, but we could reduce our water sewer rates and put it towards the surcharge, depending on how big of a project they come up with the new funding package amount, because Camden said that 6 million is probably not enough again. He said with what came in the last couple weeks, he said, I don't think that's enough money for Phase 4.
Phase 4, here's kind of a picture of phase 4. It's kind of hard to see, but the light blue lines are all water. And Brandon, do you know what this red is? Is that water and sewer, or is it storm?
That's sewer, isn't it?
Can you suck it up a little bit?
Ooh,
That's sewer out in,
It's not storm. I don't think storm will work that way.
that's the sewer project out there, the extender sewer.
Must be sanitary.
and to fix it along Donlin Drive, right? I think that was, had some problems there. But this other is all the asbestos, I believe, asbestos pipe that's left in town. And there's a little bit over here by the park.
How long do we have to get this figured out?
We need to apply for RD as soon as possible because their interest rates are going up very shortly. So if we wanna go to RD, we need to make a decision. Just because they said they've got the money right now and they are planning on raising their interest rates in the next month or so. They don't know when exactly they're gonna have to do it, but Cam did make it clear today that if you wanna go for RD funding and you want the best possible, we wanna do it as soon as possible, so.
I guess I'm not too in favor of adding another surcharge at this point in time. Till we at least get rid of one or two of them.
Would it be possible to pick and choose? And not do the whole project?
With the DANR funding, we're stuck with that. We'd have to start over with their funding. Cause we asked for this set amount of plans, so then we'd have to start over. So if we wanna pick and choose, we probably have to. I don't know if they had different schedules on this or not. I don't know if there were parts of towns that was worse than others.
In front of the junior high school, that one block of water main, wasn't that part of our block grant for safe routes, or not safe routes for schools, but,
Right here,
that drain tile that we were gonna put in
yeah.
there?
Yes,
Thought that was kinda part of the,
it is. So
so
if we,
that'd be one less block of.
that'd be a block we'd be
We're
doing
not
just,
gonna pay it twice.
right. We'd be doing that one on our own.
Now, one thing would make this a whole lot easier if we knew what the bid was gonna be.
That's the tough part of it. Yeah.
Well, there's a couple things in there I'd really like to get done is, and you correct me if I'm wrong, is, our above ground water storage tank needs fixed. And
Wells,
the wells and the water tower, something has to be done with the water tower, I'm not sure what that was, but those three things
And those might be a separate schedule that we could do those and not the water lines. I'm not sure how they have this set out to go to bid.
That's why I was asking if we could
Yeah.
pick and choose, because I thought that was part of it.
Yeah, those are parts of it.
They're more of a priority than the rest of this. It's still important that we replace those lines, don't get me wrong.
Right now, I think, with the high costs of everything, I think it's probably gonna be higher than we can imagine. And we probably wouldn't get by without a pretty good surcharge.
It depends on what they come in with the grant from RD, cause they look at our whole our surcharges and our rates. Like I said, right now, we could cover it with just, without increasing our rates, but it would be a surcharge.
Problem is trying to get everybody to understand that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I don't think it's gonna get any cheaper. And the interest rates aren't gonna get any cheaper either. But how much can we bring out of the public in surcharges too?
Cause this one, if we go with a rural development, it will be a 40-year loan. So that'll make our surcharge less, cause it'll be 40 years at a lower interest than our 30 years at a higher interest with DANR. That would be one benefit, but it's also one detriment because it's 40 years instead of 30 years.
Is there any penalty for paying those off early?
We've paid off quite a few early lately, and that's a goal, once all these projects are done, to see where we can go from there.
Well, I'm kinda with Jim, I don't wanna see another surcharge added on, cause people are kinda tired of more coming on.
And a lot of people can only stretch their money so far, even if it is
That's true.
$10.
Yep, yep. That is true.
So right now, the surcharge is
Let's see. See if I can get into my server or not. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't.
approximately between $10 and $11.
On this new one? Is that what? Yes. Doesn't look at where we were at, but that, like I said, that would be an extra $7 for the water and another $3.70 for the wastewater. Let's see if I can.
No increase to the bill, but you would have the $10 additional surcharge.
Right now, we have a base fee of $24 for our water, so we have to drop that down and increase. This is at a DANR loan, the 715, that's at our 30-year loan at 1.875. I don't know what the interest rate is with RD, Camden just said today it's lower right now. But it would be increasing. One thing you could do is go forward, see what rural development would give us. If we decide at that time not to go forward with phase 4, SPN will charge us $10,000, 5,000 for water and 5,000 for sewer to cause they have to redo the entire plans for rural development law and they require different things than what DANR does. So they're redoing their engineering plans if we wanna do the rural development. If we do go forward with phase 4, they won't charge us anything, but if we don't, they will charge us the $10,000 that it took to redo the plans.
Well, I think the general consensus to this, when we agreed to go forward and apply for this, was if there was gonna be any surcharge, most of us were gonna be completely against that. Just because most of that is not priority. You know, Camden kind of explained it as,
Yeah.
some of that could last 15 years, some of it could fail tomorrow, you just never know. It sounded more like a luxury item to me than it did a necessity, most of it. I agree with Joe that some of that, water tower projects and the well and, you know, those kind of things probably are more priority than a lot of that. How do you sort that out of there?
I could ask Camden if we can scale it back, and if he's gonna do it in sections, if we can only accept, cause that's kinda what we're doing in St. Lawrence right now, we couldn't do all of the project, so we're doing different schedules, I guess they're called. We cut out quite a few schedules because, like I said, we have about half the funding we need over in St. Lawrence because everything's gone up that much since our funding was awarded to us.
I don't know if that'll get better or worse. If things will come to a head and they'll go back down some, or if it's just gonna keep climbing through the years, you know?
Camden kind of felt like it might stop. He doesn't think it'll ever go down, but it might quit increasing. Level out. Plateau, that's the word he said, was plateau. But he said, I don't see it going down, I just see it plateauing. And the only thing is our interest rates will definitely be going up. The way things are looking now, they'll go up for the next few years, so.
Waking us up.
Well, if this went through at an engineer's estimate, and engineer estimates are %50 lower than what the estimates are coming in at from the Olsons and everybody else. My guess is this isn't gonna float anyway, unless we can parcel it out.
I'm pretty sure the way they would write it would be the wells would probably be a schedule and the ground storage tank and the water tower would probably be a schedule. And then the water lines, sewer lines would probably be a schedule. Unless we asked them to split it up more priority, but I don't know if there's a priority on the water line.
So if we go forward and then decide not to do it, it'll cost us $10,000, right?
What's the timeline I guess my question is this, can we parcel that out, the water towers and the above ground water tank and taking care of the wells, or capping them, which is them, could them three items be parceled out when we go to bid, or is that part of this plan now?
You could make a motion contingent upon it being parceled or scheduled out in different schedules, so we could go to bid separately. I do know that's what they did in St. Lawrence, they did their water meter separate, they did their water tower separate, they did their lift station separate, and then they did the whole. So we actually have 4 different projects in St. Lawrence going on, because they did them all out separately. So I'm thinking we could probably do the same, similar, it's just the bulk of this is gonna be the water line, so.
Well,
Yeah, but if you wanted to contingent upon,
I'd think what has to be done to the water tower and the above ground water tank isn't gonna be, it's gonna cost more, granted, everybody has to pay more for everything you do, but it isn't that fuel, the amount of fuel you gotta run them, all that equipment and the paving, and won't be generating that as much as you would for the repairs on that. The water tower and above ground water tank. So if we did go forward and just left it like it is, and we'd schedule that out, that should minimize the rates and the surcharges.
if we don't do the whole, if we get to where we can't do the whole project and we only do a portion.
Just from the comments from the engineers and from what happened in St. Lawrence, I believe this is gonna fall way short, but
Do what we need to do for now, and the pipes and stuff can wait for a while.
well, it isn't getting any cheaper, but holy cats.
Is there anything on that list that is urgent, like that needs to be done immediately?
Well, I think the water tower and above ground water tank are not a tomorrow thing. It just should be done with sometime in the next year or two. That's where I'm coming from. It has to be done sometime,
And the wells being capped.
the wells being capped.
What needs to be done with the water tower?
I don't remember, is that just a cleaning on the inside? I don't remember what is. It was just painted on the outside, but I think it's just a,
Okay.
it's
Isn't
not,
that like a regular maintenance thing?
I do know on the dioxine one in there's a few things, but
There's a-
I don't exactly remember what it was.
it must have been a little bit more than annual maintenance to put it on the project versus just doing annual maintenance on it, but I don't know what it is. That might have been. Interior painting,
Is the water tower
Sometimes the ice will make it rust.
water stir?
oh, that was part of it,
The water tower is a water stirrer.
yeah.
Stirrator.
Stir
Stir
it,
the water so it doesn't ball up with
Yeah.
ice, yeah, okay.
the blender. A blender for the water tower and the ground story.
Yeah, 'cause during the winter you can hear the ice setting inside there.
Yeah, that's hard on your interior.
That's two things that I was impressed were pretty priority. But
Yeah, that'd be pretty important to get that painted on the inside, if it's starting to chip the paint.
I could be incorrect, that's just kind of what I'm thinking. I remember hearing them talk about it or something.
Okay.
I don't want you to think that's for sure what happened.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, they
Trying to
have,
clear up me.
this actually has tower mixer listed on there, tank mixer, and then the 2 city wells are listed right on here. So those must be parts of it. Tower mixer, tank mixer, and there's 2 city wells.
So if you have them take that in parts and we only do parts of it now, will they charge us the $10,000 since we're not going through with the whole project?
If you don't wanna go to RD to see what they'll help with funding, the funding will be at the same percentage. If we go to bid, we'd probably have to go bid for the whole thing and then only accept certain schedules if it's way over our cost or our funding package. At that point, then you could do that, but the big question for now is, do we wanna go to rural development and see if we can get more grants to help cover more of this? If so, that's where that extra 10,000 comes in. If you don't wanna go to RD and see if they can give us some money, then it doesn't. And with the funding from DANR, we know we're short, there's no way it'll cover from DANR.
Lots of money.
Is there another round of funding coming later this year? They do this more than once, don't they?
This project can only go to DANR once. And it actually, there's a January and a March. And maybe a June if there's money left over. I think that's just for if there's anything left over after they do the other 2.
Will we reapply for just the water tower mixers and those things?
I can ask Camden. Or do we go through with this, get it at this same percentage of 58.9% grant and see what the bids come in and then only accept schedules for whatever we can afford? I don't know.
If we decide we can't afford any of it, we're out 10 grand.
Only if we ask for RD funding. If we don't ask them to do the RD funding, they don't have to do any extra grant work, paperwork for the grants and the RD funding. So if we stick with the DANR funding that we have right now, no, there's not an extra charge.
Well, here's my problem with this deal. This looks, I mean, good, not good, but the way things are going, this isn't only gonna hit here with this inflationary cycle. It's gonna hit everybody. It's gonna hit Mid-Dakota. It's gonna hit our electrical suppliers. And we might be able to do this without raising rates now. But what are we gonna do if Mid-Dakota has to go up?
Well, wasn't there some discussion about that coming in the near future, that whatever we're charging now is not gonna cover it?
I know they've talked about a drought adder for the electric because of the WAPA, the rate we get from WAPA. They were talking about if we don't get some rain, that WAPA's gonna have to increase our electric rates. And I'm guessing probably the same thing with Mid-Dakota because it's coming from the river also. But I don't know, I haven't actually heard anything from Mid-Dakota, I haven't gotten anything. My last letter I got was from Susan last year.
Yeah, and they'll be working on that here this next couple of months,
Yeah.
trying to figure out what they need. So, we'll be hearing from them then. My guess is that they're talking like they even are having a hard time getting pipe and stuff for construction, and so everything's probably costing them a lot more for, keeping up their system, so they'll probably be looking at a raise. Not saying they will, but that'd be my guess.
We'll have a lot of questions for our engineers, I guess, before I would move either direction on this.
Do you want me to see if Camden can actually come either to a committee meeting and explain it to the utility committee and put it on the next agenda?
Do we have that much time?
I don't know. He just said the rural development interest rate is the big thing right now. Cause they will be going up. Everything with interest is going up, so.
It's a big project to make a decision without really knowing for sure where we're gonna be with the engineers and stuff.
Well, we won't really know until we actually go to bid is the problem, so.
Yeah. They could be really hungry and then it'd be lower, but more than likely it's probably going to be higher if you look at what's happened with other projects.
Just the cost of the supplies alone have gone up like a third, so.
That's it, yeah.
Even if the contractors are hungry and a lot of people aren't doing their projects,
Mm-hmm.
they're still,
You still got a certain amount of costs they gotta charge for, that's, yeah.
But if you wanted to go forward, get RD funding, and then once we get that RD package, have Camden come and explain it all. See where other bids are coming in on other projects between now and then. What the schedules can be, if we can break it out into different schedules or different sections of town to try to get it within our funding package. And decide at that point whether to go forward or not.
At this point, it doesn't look like we're gonna be able to go forward with all of it with the cost. Because you said already St. Lawrence's is doubled.
Right.
Right.
So if we get the RD loan,
When he redoes it for the RD application, he's gonna recalculate based on today's cost of supplies and what he's seeing other bids come in. So he's probably gonna ask for more than 6.1 million, he said. Or he's gonna put the project at more than 6.1 million and subtract out what we've already gotten from, DANR as grants. And ask for that from RD with grants and loans.
so if we vote to go ahead to, have them check in with RD, that's where the $10,000 comes in. So if we can't accept it, if it's too high, then we lose the $10,000.
Yes. If we stop phase 4 in its entirety and don't do anything for phase 4, we would lose the 10,000.
That's why it would be good to know if we can do it in, piece it out.
Mm-hmm.
I could go get my phone and see if I have Camden's cell phone if you want me to call him and,
I have,
yeah?
you want it?
See if he's,
I can't remember how you got it.
I put mine on silent and then I thought, I don't know how to do my watch.
I'll look 1605
There's some that goes on.
770 9881.
Glad I thought of that.
That's not him, I'm sorry.
I got 9881 last number. So I got-
That's not him, I'm sorry.
Thought you told me not to give you your phone number.
That was a little embarrassing when your phone goes off.
For church or wedding.
He is not answering.
Can you blame me?
He knows your number.
He's
He
going,
sees where it's from.
City Miller Council meeting.
Oops, no answer, went to voicemail.
Well, before I spend $10,000 more and spend and put surcharges, I'd like some answers from an engineer. And if that means a special meeting, no, it's cheaper than $10,000.
A lot cheaper.
And I'm willing to spend another night with this and a couple other things on the agenda before I spend $10,000 or $6 million.
Or $6+ million.
Wow,
Yeah.
I don't,
How big
I
it
don't think
was
there's
is the
enough in
problem.
this, I don't think there's enough in this package to cover from what happens at St. Lawrence and what's happening with the streets that we are gonna pave in May are gonna be costing us more to pave. I don't see where this package is gonna cover what we've gotta do.
So can we have a motion to table it and
I'll make a motion, we table it.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion to table. Is there any discussion?
when do you want me to see if I can get a meeting with Camden? Do you want him to come like next Monday night, or what are you thinking?
You gotta try to make it a full council meeting or
Yeah,
just a committee.
if we're gonna
I
meet
think
with
it'd be
him,
nice to have a full council so you can make a decision,
Well, and everybody would hear it then too,
yeah.
hear what he has
if
to
we're
say,
gonna
so
meet
it'd
with
probably
him,
be
it's
better.
gonna be with a full council. Then everybody will know what's going on.
Yep.
I don't want a committee to come make a report,
No, cause then we got another,
Cause you can't act on it.
then we can't act on
Or
it.
anywhere.
Yeah,
Bump it around.
Is there any more discussion?
Next Monday night.
would Monday night, the 11th work for everybody?
I think it should.
If he can, I'll try to get him.
That's it.
April, that's April, it's not May. I thought Joe fixed it for me, cause I can't reach it.
Is that kinda normal? That's how it is in my family, they always point in the direction.
May
Night.
9th, be 7 days from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Okay, so next Monday night.
Yep. If
When are
Camden
we
can.
tabling this to?
so May 9th, if Camden can come next Monday.
Okay, that's, Boston.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion to table this issue until May 9th. We'll have a special meeting at what time?
7 o'clock work for everybody?
That sounds good.
At 7 o'clock. Is there any more discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Right.
Those opposed, motion carried. Now I'm going back up to number 2. Paterka's water service permit. And that is who applies for a permit, they wanna put a service line across a highway up here. I believe it's a lot between yours and Gary's, isn't it, Tom?
You know, we're not sure if we're just wondering what the process is, if somebody buys that lot, we just wanna make sure they can get water, and what is the process, I guess? I mean, cause I was talking to that Brad
Letcher?
Letcher, and he told me, he said, you guys shouldn't be the ones applying to the DOT. He said that the city should be doing that. But should we do an application with the city and then you guys in turn? Because don't you guys maintain that line once it's across? I realize it looks like whoever has to pay for that to bore it.
Then it would be a private line, and the same way with like out at Stobbs, we just did that out at Stobbs, we ran a line out there. They had to bore under, that's their line.
Who maintains it then?
Under the highway, that's their private line. We maintain the main. That's our responsibility is all the water mains.
I think based on this, we did a little search online, but it looks like there's a statute out there, whatever you call it, that says the city maintains that.
Up to the curb stop.
Which the curb stop that we would maintain it to is on the east side next to the main.
But we also have a curb stop on our property line,
And
just
that-
like everybody does in town.
Right.
Shayla, could you bring up section 38-23? Designation of city property. When I read that, I get that, that's all city property. Under the road, everything.
Got it?
What's the section?
Under utilities, 38-23.
Okay.
According to this, section in the manual, it looks like, the city is responsible.
Up to,
Find designation of city property.
why is this not in order? Dash
I have it
24.
right here if you want me to read it.
Yeah, go ahead, cause I'm not.
I got your book too.
Section 38-23, designation of city property. The ownership of all water mains, lines, pipe, fixtures or curb stops or stands in or upon any dedicated street or alley within the corporate limits of the city shall be property of the city. All of the same shall be the property of the city outside of the corporate limits of the city, if the city and the property owner shall so agree. It is declared that the city is the owner of all water mains, pipes, fixtures, and curb stops or stands located or hereafter to be located under or on any dedicated street or alley within the corporate limits of the city.
To me, it's under a road, it's a water line.
But there wasn't, but the agreement was made, when the water went that direction, was they come to our water main.
Can I tell you something? I built my house in '94, and I'm north of Tom and Gary's, north of John Deere, on the west side of the road. I put in from Ben Shears, it was Ben Shears John Deere at the time. I extended onto that hydrant that's right on the east side of the road, right next to John Deere. I extended that, I think it's a 6-inch line, straight across from my property, paid for it to go underneath the road. There's a curb stop on the west side of the road, and the city maintains it from there. And I had a water main break, I can't remember what year. Terry Manning came out and I had him look at it, cause it was on the east side of the curb stop on the west ditch.
Okay.
Okay, everybody understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I had Terry come out there, nothing against him, but he said that was my personal property. So I had it dug up by Terry Severs fixed. Terry Severs says that's city bill. I came to you guys, and you guys paid it, because it was on the east side of the curb stop. Make sense? Okay,
I think the problem is there's two curb stops, one on each side of the highway.
right, but I don't own the property in the ditch.
Neither does the city, yeah, that's state
And the
highway.
city took over my line after I put it in.
And you pay the surcharges
I
for,
paid a $400 hookup fee at that time.
See, we had the option to go to Mid-Dakota when they came to town,
No, city wouldn't let us because of the 3-mile radius.
but what we did, we had to pay double water rates up till that point, and then we paid a $400 hookup. And the city said that they would maintain our lines to keep us with them.
You know, cause we started at that time with North Dakota Direct. And the city said at that time, they wanted a 3-mile radius jurisdiction. So we paid a $400 hookup fee, even though I paid it before, paid it again. So, and we were charged double rates at that time, and then the city went back to single rates. So, but
And I know
Probably
Jeff
fine.
Easley had the same thing, he had a water leak on the west ditch, and that was covered by the city. I talked to him the other day.
You know when that was?
I know,
I can't
he said
find
it
it.
was like shortly after he brought that line across, there was a leak.
Okay. Cause I couldn't find anything in the minutes, but I was looking at 92. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at
I
90.
built July of '92, that's when I brought it across the road.
Yeah,
and I did it in the summer of '94.
yeah. So do you know when Mid-Dakota came in and made that? Of course, I do know that like St. Lawrence, that 3 mile must be more than just Miller and St. Lawrence. That must be a state thing, I'm not really sure. Cause St. Lawrence is dealing with that 3 mile thing right now, or a couple other people, so that must not be a Miller.
I can't tell you.
Decision on
No,
that?
that's Miller.
Well, it's a state, it's state law, and the cities have the right to.
The jurisdiction on that.
Yep, they can take that 3-mile limit. What we've always done is we told them that, somebody has applied within the 3-mile limit. And then that city has that option of telling us if they plan to serve them instead, and that so then we can't serve them.
And then after I built, the city took it all the way to, almost to the golf course at the end of our property.
Yeah,
So,
on
on the east side of the.
the east side, yeah.
Of 45.
Or was that, when did Mid-Dakota come in there? Cause I think we put that line in, that's probably why we wanted to keep it, cause we'd already put a lot of money in to put that
Yeah.
line there.
It's been,
And you did not reimburse me for my expense when I
Years
put
ago.
water, and I will tell you that's water line.
it's been a while ago since
Oh, yeah.
that happened. We'd have to look and see when there would be a letter of application to the city in their files, if you wanted to find out.
2 or 3 fire hydrants out there, and 2 on the east side of the highway.
And I do know Stobbs just put that in a year, 2 years ago, right before he sold it, and that was all his expense, that was 100, and we did not do the permit for that either. When Stobbs went under the highway, we did not do that permit.
But it looks like according to the statute that the city is supposed to do the
Yeah, I-
application.
With that under the highway with the curb stop on both sides, that's kind of a gray area. Cause we would go to the curb stop in town,
Don't you always go to the property line?
the curb stop, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're asking you to do
Right,
the
same
same thing,
thing.
and that's what you've done with me, that's what you did with Gary.
Yeah.
Tom just happened to hook on to Gary's line,
see.
that's why it's different.
I don't know what that permit, we've never done it. And I don't know what the precedence wants to be, I guess.
Yeah.
Cause Stobbs just did it and we didn't do his.
well, I think if, they're on city water, we should have to maintain it like you do any other line. Up to their property line, and once it's in there and on their property line, then it's their responsibility. But up till that's basically kinda what it says.
So I'm not quite sure with the other ones that are already under there, who has those permits. I don't know. Or was there a permit? I don't even know if there was a permit.
Yeah, I think I did it all with the state when I did it.
Yeah.
If I have the records, I can't tell you, but I can find them real quick if I did.
Cause I don't know we have, according to Brad, we've only ever done one permit, and that's been underneath the highway and mill. We did not,
According to the statute that the
Yeah.
city wrote, it looks like the city needs to apply for the permit.
Well, that's what Brad said too, I mean, I would just ask him, how does it work, and he said, well, you guys should be applying, so.
yeah,
But then how come everybody else did and they went through with it, so. Cause he said that.
is
that
the permit a new thing, or is it an old thing?
I don't know, cause he said that permit is non-transferable.
Yeah, that seems,
Well, if that's the case, if we all die, what, how are you gonna get us to fix it?
yeah,
I mean, really,
right,
Well,
it doesn't.
It's got water to his old place, he sold the house, he's passed away, his wife is still alive, I don't think you're gonna go after him if there's a break
no,
underneath the road.
right. Yeah, I don't know, with, like I said, we haven't done any permits, and I don't know if those are a new.
And that's actually why it should be the city's responsibility.
Or the
Because then
property,
the
Across to the
property
curb
owner,
stop.
yes.
or at least be able to be transferred with the property sale, which apparently it's
Right.
not.
So we're selling it, we just wanna make sure the person that buys it can get the water to that property.
Right,
And it looks like it's a property owner's expense from the statute I'm reading, but then the city takes it over on the curb stop, right at their property line. I
Put
think
in-
we're all reading it the same, cause I've got the statute too.
Yep,
From the curb stop to the main, becomes the city's.
Yep.
City specs.
Yep.
and I know there's a casing and all that stuff, so that would all be your guys' cost to bore under it, put the casing in,
Right.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever the
That's the way
state
we understand
requires.
it. What is the hookup fee? Cause I've heard 1,000, I've heard 2,000. Because if you're out of city limits, it's double.
Yes.
Well, we fixed that when we did the water rates.
The actual hookup is double, and it has always been.
For what reason?
We will never recoup our cost to get water out there, like that line going out there, that'll never be recouped. This is just a tiny way to help recoup that, but we'll never.
So somebody in the city limits gets it for half of what I do.
But the people in the city limits are paying property tax to upgrade the streets and all of that stuff too, so. That's just another benefit, I guess, of being in the city, but the water hookup fee depends on how big of a line you're gonna do.
How long of a
How big, if you're gonna have like a 1-inch line, it's gonna be $500 to hook up. If you're gonna have a 2-inch line, it's gonna be $2,000 to hook up. If you want a 1.5, it's gonna be $1,000.
So is that from the main line, or is that?
That's to hook to the main. That's hooking into the main. Whatever you hook into the main, that's the cost.
Or is it the hookup to the curb stop?
And that says to the hook up to the main. Connection fees, that's connecting to the main, that would be,
So it specifically says to the main.
it says connection fees, sewer tap line or water tap line. And that's always been to the main, connecting to the main.
But in town, there's not, that's not a connection fee to the main, it's to
Yes.
the, no, it's to the curb stop.
They have to hire someone to connect to the main, then we take it over
Every
to.
property owner does?
Yes, if somebody builds a new property, they have to pay to connect to the main. And then we maintain from the main to that curb stop. And then from the curb stop to the house, it's their property, but they have to pay to connect to the main. Anybody in or outside of town that connects to the water main pays that connection.
So is there two hookup fees then, one to the main and one to the curb stop?
No, just the one,
Just one. Okay.
just to the main.
So if, just say you guys do the permit, thinking that's the way it should be, what size pipe do you put through there?
That'd be,
That'd be up to the homeowner, or
Yeah.
The property owner?
the property owner can decide.
Is there a minimum of one?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a minimum, it says a minimum.
1.5.
Minimum of 1-inch pipe or
Yeah.
type K copper or its equivalent.
Yeah, 'cause I'm assuming whoever buys it's gonna want a 2-inch minimum.
So is that kind of what everybody put across?
If you're traveling very far, 1 inch is gonna be cut back quite a bit.
Yep. I've got 1/4 going into my house, I think I got 2 going up to the house, so. I got an irrigation system, I have no pump, cause I got plenty of
can do a 1/2 inch too, 1.5 instead of the 2, if you wanted to do 1.5 inch. I don't know what your water pressure is going that far, I have no idea.
But whoever buys it, that's their choice, I guess, what kind of, I don't think we're asking to do it yet.
Okay.
It's just, we wanna make sure it's available
Oh, yeah,
and to know kinda what the costs were.
what the cost is gonna be. Well, yeah, with the,
We don't know the boring cost.
as I said,
but it is
boring's
what
not
it
on
is,
us.
but-
I heard today $10 a foot. That's what, I heard the county, that's what they're doing it for.
$10 a foot?
So the city will do the application, we can tell renewal, and that's what the city will take care of.
That's, if these guys make a motion to do that,
I'll make that motion.
Now, what's the motion for?
It's to, for the water line, the city will, apply for that, will send the application in.
This, right?
That's good. I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion to apply for the utility permit from the South Dakota Department of Transportation for boring under 45 to, that'll be, what, Paterka's addition or something?
I think it's track 2,
What?
it's track 2 under the new plat.
Under the legal description.
Okay, it'll be on that plat, right? Okay. Is there a second?
I seconded.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the city to apply for a permit to bore under 45 north of town, going over to whatever plat now, where that is off of there.
track 2, he said here, this one.
Track 2 for the curb stop.
Is there a limit once you apply for that permit? Does somebody have to do it within a certain amount of time? Or
I
what?
wouldn't apply for it yet.
Okay, that's what we want.
Yeah.
Build for a while.
Cause it's gotta be applied for the exact line that they want.
So what we wanna
Maybe
do
we
is
don't wanna
just
do this.
make a motion for the city to approve it. When,
Oh, there we
if and
go.
when.
The city
Yes,
will apply for the
that would be
permit
better.
once
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
in.
And that's all you want, isn't it, is for us to approve
To
applying
approve
for
that we
that?
will apply
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
it when it gets developed or when.
Yeah.
The owner will pay the
Yeah.
expense.
Correct.
I thought it sounded
And then
almost
the
like we
city
were
will take
gonna
over the
do
line
it.
once it's to the curb stop on the west side of 45.
Right.
To the property.
To the your property line, yep.
Yeah.
That's where they all are now.
Okay, now
So
does
the owner
everybody,
needs to come in and ask us.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we just wanna bill sale to sale, what it takes to get done.
Does
The
it-
city will do it.
does everybody understand this now?
I think
I
so.
think I do, as long as it's written in the minutes, right?
Or is it well, I think this, well, we'll wait till we get this done and then I'll say what I got to say, but I think we need to make this a policy, because if you do any research in this deal, in these kind of deals, there's been every kind of a thing done that you can even think of.
But you already
So-
kinda have it in your.
I
What?
think we just need
It's
to,
in here.
It's all there, yeah.
we just
needs
kinda
be
need to
followed.
clarify it, I think.
Yep.
It's just not being followed.
Need to read between the whereases and therefores and all that.
And upon, and who is and on.
Well, I think,
Hate to wait to do it after you have a leak and try to figure out who's gonna fix it.
I think we need to do some of this stuff here, because if somebody's gonna build a house, wants to spend $300,000 for a house, we don't wanna be slowing down the process.
It's gonna be a small house under today's.
Yeah, well, that's just a figure.
Tiny house.
Just a round number.
Yeah, yeah, I understand.
Kinda like that.
One of them with a little moon in the door.
The outhouse.
With that house.
Okay, now, do we have any more discussion? If not, I'm gonna vote by roll call, and I'm gonna start with, Schwartz.
Aye.
Zeller.
Aye.
Odegaard.
Aye.
Wentz.
Aye.
Alderwoman Lecter.
Aye.
Alderwoman Harkins.
Aye.
Hearing 6 ayes and no nays, the motion carries by unanimous ballot. Motion carried.
Yep.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Clear as mud.
I think we do need to rewrite that ordinance.
And it should be the city's responsibility.
We need to rewrite that ordinance to
Well, it's
make
good
it
to discuss this
A little
before
clearer,
we
yeah.
sell it to
Yeah.
somebody.
Absolutely.
I
Has
think,
everybody seen this? I
because
don't
in
know.
another 10 years, when we do this again, then nobody's
Do
here.
with my stupid pen.
Just for the record, I won't be here.
What?
Yeah, you should.
I might not even.
I'm hoping I'm retired. Yeah, I can.
Everybody seen this?
Alright. Everybody's seen that?
The next one is number 4.
That's part of that, we tabled all of that.
Okay. Okay, we'll go to number 5. SPN invoices, phase 3 invoices 25929 25 through 25931 for a total of $10,307.64.
Guess I'll make a motion, we pay the SPN phase 3 invoices.
Okay, we have a motion to pay SPN $10,307.64 for invoices 25/9/29 through 25/9/31. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Do we have any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. The next thing is malt beverage license renewals. We have all the checks for these, don't we, Cheryl?
Yep. The only one that's different is Kessler's is not renewing theirs.
Kessler's is not gonna renew.
No, they have their liquor license that covers off sale, they don't need the malt beverage.
Oh, okay.
They were talking about getting video laundry a couple of years ago and they decided not to do that, so they don't need the malt beverage.
Okay, the first one is Turtle Creek Steakhouse. You wanna do all these at once, or
Yeah, unless somebody doesn't,
unless somebody has something that they don't wanna renew one of these? The next one is Dolgen Midwest LLC. That's a Dollar General store. They got a lot of paperwork. Let's see. This is Mylan Industries, or Incorporated, I mean, and that's Pump and Pack. This one is Cowboy Country Stores. That's different from the rest.
no, they're all the same, that one's the same.
Okay, has anybody got any one of them that they don't think we should renew? If not, I'd entertain a motion to renew.
Also move.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to renew the the Turtle Creek Steakhouse, Dogs in Midwest LLC. All this.
Is Turtle Creek's in there too? It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yep.
is. It's right up.
Yeah, I think you said that first. Must be on the top.
Mylan Incorporated and Cowboy Country Stores. Is there any discussion? Do we have a second? Yeah, we have a second. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same. Motion carried. Number 7 is Crystal Park Campground Extended Stay. And I think we need to send that to the committee to look into that, because that gets kind of complicated when you really look at it. So,
Is that the street committee or parks?
well, it would be the,
Park,
I think it's a street, isn't it, in
Streets,
Yeah.
park,
street
ballpark.
parks and ballpark.
Yep.
Look into it as far as what, Ron?
Hmm,
Cause now it says 72 hours.
I know.
So what did you need that, what part do you want to see if that needs to
Well-
change or?
We've got somebody staying down there, wow, about 2 months now.
That, just to go back several years ago, they wanted me to put them signs up, and in the process of that, one of the guys that stayed down there most of last year had donated a lot of money to the bathhouse, a lot, thousands. So the council at that time pretty much said, we just kinda use your head and talk to the guys. And the vehicle that's down there now, he's already, actually, before he even talked to me, he brought $200 up to City Hall. He was there last year, did the same thing, I believe twice, but I'm not real sure on that. The other thing was, one of the reasons the council decided to kinda hang tight on it is during hunting season, they're there 5 days. An out-of-stater's here for 5 days minimum. If they do their season, they can do 5 days and then 5 days after, so it could actually be 10 days. A lot of them guys, when they get done, they go have supper, do their whatever they're gonna do, and that's kind of the idea. I usually communicate, if they're gonna be there a while, I communicate with them a little bit. But that, I've been doing it for years, 98, when I took over from Dustin, I've been doing it for that long. So,
I know of one down there's been there for over a month,
and he's the one that donated quite a bit of money.
and there's another one's been down there for at least 3 weeks, if not 4. 3 weeks for sure. So,
There's some that are there, nobody's in them too. I don't know about both of them, I just know the one.
they both have vehicles at them from time to time, so.
Cause we had a guy, he was here for 2-3 days a few years ago, and then he had to leave. He's not from around here. He pulled his camper, left it, and it was unattended for quite some time, like a month and a half. Then he says, I'm gonna come back. He said, I really don't wanna pull my camper down to Iowa to stay in somebody's place. So I said, as long as you keep it on the high side, if we have a flood, you don't have to worry about it. The other idea is, we're gonna do an extended stay, maybe we can charge a minimum of so much money or whatever, that's up to you guys. I just know in the past, we were gonna do something about it, and then the council said, no, wait, so we'll wait.
I agree, the pheasant hunters and stuff, people pass, well, yesterday somebody pulled in there. Today they're gone.
Mhm.
Now they pulled in, spent the night, now today they're gone. That's what it's for. Not for some Miller person to decide, hey, I get free electricity here, you know.
Well, one of those trailer houses or campers that sits up there quite often is a lab tech at the hospital. If he's got call time at night,
That's the
he
other
leaves, he
guy.
can, cause he lives at Virgil's.
The
He
only,
stays there.
the only thing with that is, the hospital also has those hookups that if he needs to keep a long stay, he could move it there. If it becomes an issue of, you know, like when he's
Holiday
not there.
weekends or
Right.
something.
The other thing that I requested when they ask about a long stay is over holidays, I prefer not, like the 4th of July takes up one room. Now, the last few years, we haven't had very big holidays, so it wasn't a huge deal. But they weren't there. I know the one guy, he wasn't there last 4th of July. He pulled it out of there.
Well, Ron, if you're willing to keep track of it, and sounds like you have been, then, you know, if we're gonna have hunters stay 5 days, and I think that's great because they gotta eat and they gotta buy gas.
Yep.
Buy groceries. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with someone from Miller parking down there, 33 plates.
Actually,
Yeah.
one
Stand.
motorhome's got 33 plates on it.
And that's the one that gave the money.
Okay,
Okay.
well, if you're willing to monitor it,
And like I say, there's actually 2 of them that stay down there regularly for distant time. I think between the 2 of them, they've had $10,000 towards that shower. So,
I think if they stay down there extended time, I think make sure that they don't start bringing vehicles up there where they work on them, and maybe toys and garbage all over, just keep our park really nice looking.
and
We had
that's,
that.
that's what happened a few years ago.
Two-
and he-
yeah, 2
that's-
years ago.
That's why the sign is there, to stop some of that,
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
We don't want them to become a second home to them, I guess.
Well, they were hauling trees and limbs in a pile, and they were gonna grind them down there and then haul the trees out and sell the grindings and sell the tree stumps for firewood, and, that wasn't a good deal.
Was that the folks who tore it all up because it was muddy when they got out of there?
Yep, instead of taking the road, they took the grass right after the snow. Yeah, but I know who that person is, and, so does Gordy.
And I think they had about 3 vehicles down there, didn't they? 3 or 4, something like that.
In between the 3 campers, they had a camper and a half, probably.
I think so.
How many camping spots are down there?
I honestly don't know, there's some with powers, there's quite a few that don't.
Okay.
And I've seen that full, I don't know, I'd probably say probably 30, 40 campers, not for quite some time. I remember when I think Gus was still around, it was plumb packed, I think it was the all-school reunion,
Oh, I
I
suppose.
think, probably, when was that?
Well, last summer, one time, there was 15 campers down there.
That was quite a bit too. I kept track of it.
Right.
Quite a few campers. I think the bathhouse really brought in a lot of folks. And I mean, it was pretty full several times last summer, you know, on the weekends and during the week too, I noticed.
Well, the fact you can't get into the state campground, so you gotta know where you can get in.
I think that's why it gets used somewhat, I'm not saying all the time.
And I think we have a couple of.
But I'm gonna have my park guy, he's gonna start tomorrow, and he's
Yeah.
gonna go around and pick trees up
Like
and
that.
limbs and
No,
whatnot, and just
that's
kinda
why
get the
I
garbage
think
handled and
somebody
stuff,
just
and I said,
camps
well, by the end of the week,
And leaves it there.
or
because
maybe
it's
beginning of
up.
next week, we'll be mowing.
And then comes the weekend, there's no
we'll get the water pump down.
I don't believe.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, and why that,
Why that
we
flooded that
cleaned, we
corner?
cleaned that all out, and we got that pipe all cleaned, and there might not be a drop in down there, too, I think that's maybe further to the east. Yeah, but it was nice to see the water.
Is that consensus of the council? I'm just asking if Ron
Yeah.
and Shannon are willing to evidently take care of that all the time. I guess I'm willing just to
Sounds like they
let
got
it
it under
go as it is.
Yeah.
You wanna just leave that as is then?
That's what I'm suggesting. Evidently, they've taken care of it and know what's going on, so why? It ain't broke.
Somebody wanna make a motion then?
I'll make that a motion. We just let it,
Okay, do we
Stay
have
the
a
same.
second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to leave the Crystal Park Campground extended stay deal as is. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. I guess approval of bills is next.
I guess I'll make the motion to pay the bills.
I'll second it.
You have a motion and a second to approve the bills. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. Last thing on the agenda is to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn.
Same people do it?
This ain't input time, but I got something for you. You guys better rethink your code deal. You got rid of the jerk that always caused it. Because I counted 20 cars around this town that they've never got a letter. And you're picking on Bernie Rombo and my lot there. We pay the taxes, we pay the service charges, whatever that lot is, utilities, they're all paid up. That's our property, stay off. If anybody picks up my equipment, I will pick up yours, yours, and yours. That's a promise. I guarantee you I will. That's our property. If the windows was busted out, the tires were flat, the weeds growing around it, that's different. And how they make their living, that's none of you guys' business. At all. And the mayor will agree with me. And you guys should too. You take a look at what your town is, the people are still here. Leave them alone. Because you're gonna agitate the wrong person. Me. And I guarantee you, I'll fall through my promise. So, put your pipe to smoke it, I don't care. If Mr. Johnson comes and tries taking my stuff off, you're gonna see a lot of trouble. You guys hired me to haul this stuff out, so now you got somebody else doing it. And you guys are supposed to be doing the job that your code enforcer is. You're paying him. You guys are supposed to be doing that. Get a backbone. Go talk to those guys if they got something on the line. It isn't hard. You understand?
I've talked to quite a few of them.
Yeah. Most of them.
Most of them will take care of whatever the problem
Yeah,
is.
they don't have to have a license on them. What's the deal? That's baloney. If it's their property and there's nothing wrong, the tires are up, the windows aren't broken out, drive by. Ever since I bought that property, she bought that property, there's been issues. Why? It was for sale before that. Nobody else wanted it. I bought it, and then we get all bullshit. I cleaned up one house off of there. Maybe I should have left it. No comment? Okay, I got your tongue, what? Say something. Tell me on, I don't care.
I don't know what you want me to say.
Get rid of him.
Well, I don't see that happening.
Why?
Why?
You guys are supposed to be doing that job, and you're paying him to do it. You taking it out of your check? No.
I didn't know that was our job. I thought that was.
I didn't realize it was either.
That's.
What are you here for
Chief is
then?
supposed to do.
You're supposed to represent the town. Take care of the town.
There's a little more to it than that.
Yeah, right. So bring it on. you have him come pick up my stuff. I guarantee you what I'll do. It was all over that pickup that sat there by his garage, and you guys fell for it. You let him do it. That's what it's all about. And he's a felon. Everything he said down here is null and done. A felon has no rights. None. Right? They don't have any rights. But you let him do it. You let him do it. I wouldn't care if he was standing right here. What do you think, Ron?
What?
What do you think?
I think it's time to go home.
I know that. But you guys need to take care of that problem. If you can't talk to people, get out of there, let somebody in there that can. Say something, Joe. Don't just sit there.
Well, I'm brand new to this, but I can say this, I don't think threatening anybody to do anything is gonna accomplish anything.
You're right. That's what them letters are. It's a threat.
Well, and that's what you're doing here.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Sounded like you threatened you were gonna steal some vehicles.
No,
What is that?
that's not a threat.
Is that not grand theft auto if you come grab their vehicles?
Well, isn't that right? Bingo, you said it. If they come get my vehicle, grand theft auto.
Yeah,
Why
like I
can
said,
you
I don't
guys
even
do
know,
that? Why can you do that and we can't?
I'm not even sure what all this is about, but were there any warnings issued or anything like that on any of this stuff?
Oh yeah, they send out them letters that you gotta get these off of there. Why?
Okay,
They don't own that property. They don't own them vehicles.
I don't know, Dave, I remember years ago when you bought that property, you agreed to there'd only be so much stuff sitting there at that time.
Yeah, and I come down here, you made an ass out of me that time. We had to redo the, property for commercial, cause it was this and it was that. You guys were gonna leave me alone, but you still gonna hang in there.
I guess I don't remember that part.
Oh yeah, probably not.
I remember the fact that there was only so much stuff sitting there at any one time.
It doesn't matter. We own the property, we pay the taxes, we pay the utilities, stay off. Gotta put up a no trespassing sign? I'll do it.
You can do whatever you want.
I know. You can't pick somebody else's stuff up, regardless of what it says in the letter. You gotta have a reason, and there's no reason, just because it hasn't got license on it. That is not a good reason.
Have they been and picked something up off of your property
They
or
haven't yet.
just threatened?
Oh, yeah.
Sent the letters?
Yeah. I wanna be there when they try that.
Well, if they haven't by now, they probably won't.
How long ago was it you got the letters on it?
I don't know, last month. You guys work on it, because something will happen, guarantee it. You won't like it if your vehicle's picked up, I guarantee you that.
There's not a law that says our vehicles are subject to be removed from our property.
That's right, and mine aren't either.
There is a law that
No,
says-
there isn't.
There is too, there's one right there that's got them in it. And this happens all over the state.
No,
Every
it
town.
don't.
Well, it does too.
Happens in Sioux
I
Falls.
talk to
I go
other
to these,
towns.
I go to these
Yeah,
training things, Dave, and every town deals with this. Sioux Falls has got guys that pull up, they open somebody's fenced in
we're
yard.
not Sioux Falls, we're Mill.
I know we're not, but
That's
I'm giving
right.
you an example.
I
It
know.
happens in Canton, it happens every small town, every big
No,
town.
it don't.
All people want,
Yeah, I'm done. We adjourned, didn't we?
We're gonna
I'm done.
adjourn the meeting right now.
This can go on all goddamn night.
Can go on all night.
He does that all the time when it's over. Actually, we should stop it when he gets up there and say,
Input's not allowed,
Input's over.
it's over.
Yeah.
You're not here for public input.
Well, I think, wasn't he here?
He's going against the rules.
I thought he was here when we did the public input.
He
I thought
was, but
sitting
he
there,
always
didn't do
waits
it.
till after, cause he's hoping that all the recordings are off.
They're not. They're not.
Sounds to me like that's an
they
open
are.
threat against anyone.
Mhm.
What?
You know, I'm not opposed